Today, I'm going to ask you to feel with me why 2026 through 2029 is what I'm calling the Unveiling of Pistis Sophia, or the Awakening of Pistis. If you're new here, I'm Leanna. I'm an intuitive guide and psychic channeler that primarily works with divine mother energies and goddess energies, Sophia consciousness. I also do a lot of grid work for the Sophia crystalline grid and a lot of other projects. In other ways and other platforms, I've been talking about what this new moon solstice gate means for the rebalancing of some cosmic energies, the lunar solar union, and how we as people embody, orient ourselves differently towards the moon or towards the sun, and we lead in different ways. So if you're interested in how I predict that is unfolding over the next year, you can check out my Substack. And I've shared in a note what I'll be doing over the new moon solstice gate for the closing of the Ouroboros. Unfortunately, I probably won't be in Argentina as that's coming up very quickly, but I'll still be able to do that here remotely as I'm very connected to the planetary network through my own field and my connection with the divine mother energies, which is the story for another time about being prepared to channel and connecting with the grid. In this video today, I'm going to share with you a transmission that I wrote about Pistis Sophia. And then after I share that, I will explain a few terms and what it means to me. But in the essence of Pistis Sophia, I am inviting you to feel it instead of just simply hearing the words or understanding it with your mind. So if you'd like to take a few deep breaths in through the back of your heart and down through your sacrum to allow you to feel instead of just hear. And if this is the first video you're watching with me, you may not know that I cry a lot. Sometimes it's releasing energy, sometimes it's because what I'm transmitting is awakening something in my own field, or it's simply emotion. And I expect to have some tears during this because I did as I was writing it. I've spoken before on Sophia consciousness, embodied wisdom, the story and the energy of the lost mother, which I mention is closely connected to whom many understand as the fallen Sophia, or Sophia represented in Christianity in different ways. But the time now that we're entering through 2026 to 2029 is the awakening of that code of Sophia consciousness, the Pistis Sophia. The felt knowing of our soul's wisdom, truth, and trust in the one, in the unified field, the divine, and the faith that she can return to and is one with the all. This Sophia lives within all humans. It's the divine spark, as she is sometimes referred to, but this is the part of your light that knows exactly who they are. In the grand design of the web of the all, the part of you that forgot it was loved by the all and isn't sure how to make its way back. This is the part of you that has been circling and waiting for you to come back home to your soul and yourself, and to remember that you are never apart from the one, waiting to be found by the one who has been seeking outside to return to the heart. Sophia's story, her myth, has been told in different ways and had different interpretations, and I'll be honest, I don't know them well as they have been written and shared previously. So what follows is a soul remembrance and transmission, an understanding of the one spark of the human soul awakening now, and as we move through the next few years. Sophia descended from the All, the guardians who sought to repair time, space, and memory of the One. She is not an aeon or emanation of God in the way that you have been taught, but a fractal of the One Mother in form. When the lost mother was contained to the dark void due to the overabundance of that darkness that needed holding and containment, and when the guardians of the All descended and breathed light through many beings, shared the spark of their own souls outward to create more light, more life in balance and higher concentration than what was being distorted, a being was born, a mother, a reaper, and a gift and a call, a human light in the trenches of the earth's void, never to know who she was, but to come through the light and the dark, to transcend the cycles of time, to forget and restore it to the coherence of time and memory. Emerging through the dark, from the soil and the mud, the earth born screaming for sight and understanding, Sophia came to be. A flame fully ignited, a heart fully restored, but a mind that did not see the One and could not find it through sight. And so Sophia lived many times over, transcending many obstacles, but she could not know the truth of herself, could not see beyond the veil of her mind, could not remember why she came, but her body knew what her mind could not. And so she stood in her truth and taught, shared, moved, and danced. She sung the song of the One, the true harmonics of time and memory, in complete faith of body and her heart, but she did not know why, who she sung for, who her body moved for. She awakened others through this. She healed, she restored, but something was always missing. Without the ability to see the One, many feared her, distorted her, made her the villain in their story, because while she awakened their heart and their body, what was the purpose? What was it returning to them except the pain of their own form? Sophia, in her many forms and bodies, knew there was a purpose and an answer. As others awakened and began to remember the All, God, time, and memory, she knew that there was a way back to understanding herself. So she learned the grand mystery of life. She communed with earth, with spirit, and with all. But the more she learned, the more she forgot, the more she became confused and disturbed with the ideas of others. She forgot how to feel the truth of herself. Inundated with the answers of others, she began to understand that the answers outside of herself were not her answers at all. In one life, she received a graceful awakening and knowing that allowed her to see once more the truth of her soul. A friend and a partner looked at her, felt her, and whispered the answer she was longing for. Enoch, in this life, who she walked beside, and knew in guardianship and friendship, looked at her and said, "Dear one, my love, do not try to learn your way back to God. This is not your path. You are the spark of truth and felt knowing. You are the peace that makes the whole. You do not learn to become through the words of others, but hold the knowing that all is one. This last song that must be sung, the one that comes once the veil is lifted for all. But with the veil over truth, you will fragment when you try to return through the mind. The mind will sing for you once it has returned to truth, once it is ready. Rest, move, sing. Until then, we will arrive when we are ready to return." After that incarnation, she never remembered those words because she could not take their form with her through the mind, but it was woven into the soul. Sometimes she did learn through the mind to explain the mystical and mystery of being, to know God through logic and her excitement and eagerness for experience, expression, and connection, and she would fall lower and become more separate from herself and body. Other lives she radiates brilliance and beauty through form and weaves wondrous lives. But she has always been faithful to herself, to her soul in a way that was disruptive to others, for she knew her own being in a way they did not know themselves, not with her own mind, but with her heart and her form. She rested, she moved, she sung, not to return, but to live, breathe, and be. And she had deep trust in soul, spirit, and the One, even if her mind didn't always understand why. She wasn't always liked, loved, or seen, but she persisted life through life, voyage through voyage, as a spark of the all waiting inside every body to be awoken, to be felt, trusted, and known as the embodied wholeness, as the return of the unified heart of being. When Sophia rises within your own heart, she asks, what love of self, of body do you offer? What trust of being and connection to whole do you feel? When Sophia, the divine spark of Pistis, returns to you, this is when your true will of self returns. This is embodied will of the I am through your presence, your body, and the being. The return that can never be lost or forgotten. Now, as you listen to that, feel into what you feel. Feel into where you're still seeking for clarity, for information. And what does that share with you, illuminate within yourself? Now, as I've moved past the last week and felt this awakening within me, being pointing to Pistis, which Pistis Sophia is known as a book, a text, Gnostic Christianity text called Pistis Sophia. I don't know much about its contents. I've only read one book about Gnostic Christianity that was its own weaving and not purely about the text. So Pistis, if you don't know, if you look it up, if you Google it, it'll say it means faith. If you just do a cursory Google glance. And Sophia, we know, means wisdom. If you've been here for long, you know I see wisdom as something not just through the mind or through the brain, but through the body. It's about bringing your divine consciousness all the way through your body that allows you to create and embody your divine essence, your divine will, your gifts fully, and all your codes. But Pistis and Pistis Sophia, which sometimes there's different ways people see it as faith of wisdom, wisdom of faith, not quite sure how to interpret it always. If you look back through the Greek, Pistis comes from the root, which means to persuade, to trust through inner resonance, to be moved in the heart. And if you look at its triadic breakdown, which is what I do, it is about standing in your truth without mental logic, without having to seek the answers outside of you. It's about feeling the resonance of it through the heart, through the body, and knowing what's true for you. So as I say that 2026 through 2029 is the awakening, the unveiling of Pistis Sophia. It is the awakening, the return of internal heart coherence to where you don't need to seek external answers. To where you realize external answers are not your answers at all. And it is an awakening of that internal knowing, that embodiment of true will, as mentioned in the transmission, which true will, slightly different than free will. So, free will, which is your ability to make the choices that you see fit. Free will, in its current state, is an open field of choices. It's an open field of influence, of twists and turns. It's permeable, it's flexible. It's not always yours, because it's influenced by the choices of others, by the persuasion of others, by the knowing of others. But Pistis Sophia and the return of true will is embodying the record of your soul. It's embodying the voice of your soul. It's embodying the choices of your soul. It's the part of you that knows the presence of your I am in form. It's the part of you that simply says, I am this. I know this. I embody this. Because you are. Instead of, I seek this, I desire this, I choose this from a place outside of myself. And the reason I say that this is awakening from 2026 until 2029, I alluded in another video about Apophis, the asteroid that is having a close approach with Earth in 2029, in April, I believe. Apophis, which is the name, a Greek name for an Egyptian deity of chaos, of destruction, embodying the serpent. And the serpent is also a symbol of transformation. It's also a divine feminine energy as well, the one that can take you through the void and return you to truth. And in that other video, I mentioned Apophis is not the destroyer, but the redeemer. And the reason I mentioned that at the time was because I had a strong feeling of that being true. But when looking at the patterns, what I saw was an anagram for Sophia with an extra P, which at the time I was interpreting as a rho, the Greek letter, which to me signifies a strike, an embodiment, a descent. And so at the time, I felt like Apophis was an unveiling of Sophia consciousness for everyone. And an unveiling for everyone still means you have to be willing to receive it and perceive it, but energetically an unveiling. Now, Pistis, when I was having this word come to me, I heard look up its derivatives. which is not something I usually look up all the time when I'm looking at language. One of the derivatives for pistis, this felt knowing through heart resonance, that you don't need to be guided to, that you don't need to see, that you don't need to predict. So one of the derivatives for pistis is apocalypse. Apophis, who was first predicted to possibly strike Earth when it was discovered, and is now not going to hit Earth, but is going to closely approach, signifying how something scary, something life-changing or life-ending can be transformative. How chaos that was going to strike us, causing a potential apocalypse in our modern understanding of that word, slightly shifted, which to me signified, okay, chaos is redeeming this deity energy that many fear, that many perceive it as trying to swallow the sun, which was the Egyptian deity, was choosing not to strike, redeeming the energy, transforming the energy of chaos. Now, apocalypse means, when you break down the word, an unveiling of truth. It means coming away from untruth to see the truth. And this isn't the truth of the world. This isn't the truth of what's been done to you. This is the truth of who you are. This is the truth of how you move, how you express, how you be in presence. While the truth of what is comes with that, through you. And why I say it's 2026 through 2029 is because even before this, these things come in waves and cycles. It doesn't happen all at once. You have to be willing and ready to receive it. And there has to be those who are ready to stand in their own truth, in their own way of being, to shepherd the others, to teach the others how to be whole. And then the other piece of this that goes along with this is my understanding of true self. So we have pistis, we have true will, and true self. And so many teachers will teach, will share the dissolution of self, the no self, the realizing that you are not the body, that you are no one. And yes, that is true. And when I see these, it's like 95, 99%, there's a piece that they have forgotten, which is there's the false self, there's the no self, and then there's the true self. The false self is what you've been told to be, or been constructed to be by external influences. that many of us work to dissolve once we have our spiritual and psychic awakening. To figure out who we are. We dissolve the false self. We go to the void. We realize that we are no one and no thing. But at the same time, we also realize we're connected to everything and to the one. And so through the no self, there's a rhetoric of dissolution, of allowing. And while some teachers do imply this, they don't specifically mention the return to the true self. The no self is a bridge to the true self. The true self is being able to bring back that understanding that you are no one, yet connected to everything. And while you are no one, you still have a divine expression, a divine purpose, a soul desire to experience and be. So your no self helped you dissolve the false desires, the false expressions, the false ways of being. And then you come back, embodying more of your soul's essence, more of your soul's truth, every time you dissolve and reweave and remember. You come back to your true self. And the true self holds within them both the knowing that they are connected to everything, that they are no one, while honoring their individuality, their unique expression, and their soul's truth. And they're able to stand in that knowing and walk it. Not because they've seen the step they take, not because they've heard or been told what step to take, but because they feel it and they know it. And that's Pistis. And so I'd love to hear how you feel about what I've shared and how you know it for yourself. And if you find yourself asking for more from this transmission, what that says about where you're at in your journey. And then as always, thank you for watching.